to Bali, we decided to stay in Ubud, which is its cultural centre and also a great place to unwind.
After a few months of busy backpacking, we got ourselves a private villa with our own pool so we could properly relax for a few days.
It was a great place to use as a base in Ubud, and we wandered around the town quite a lot, seeing a lot of what was going on, including a lot of market stalls, lots of shops, and also a lot of religious stuff that's available all through the town.
So after a few days of relaxing and catching up on our reading, we headed out for a day down to Kuta, where the best water park in Asia is called Water Bomb.
It was really good fun to spend some time just, well, having fun really, and we really thoroughly enjoyed what we were doing. There were lots of slides, lots of rides, scary, even ones that drop you to go 70 kilometres an hour. It's just crazy.
We did a ride together called Boomerang, which is two people going down one side of the slide and coming straight up the other where we nearly came off the edge, so that was pretty scary too.
So as our time in Ubud came to an end, we thought we'd better visit the monkey sanctuary, which was just around the corner from where we were staying.
There were quite a few tourists there, but there were even more monkeys everywhere you looked, hanging in the trees, walking along the ground. It was far more than we saw in Borneo, but these little fellows were quite cheeky. They used to take people's water bottles, packs of crisps. It was a bit of a scary experience at times too when she tried to take my bag.
The sanctuary isn't all about monkeys, and there are some temples there on site, including a really amazing bridge that we saw, which was again covered in monkeys. And it was just really good fun actually, and we never expected to see something quite like that in Ubud. And we even got to see little baby ones, which were really cute.
So after a few days in Ubud, we wanted to get to a beach, and where better to try than Gili Air.
So Gili Air is an island off the northwest coast of Lombok, and travelling across on a speedboat, we got there with a group of tourists who we were quite worried about whether we'd get off with, as they were kind of under 25, all drinking, and we thought, oh, what have we done? We've made a big mistake here.
Luckily they were going to one of the other islands, so we were one of the first stops, jumped off with about 6 others and found out that this island has no transport whatsoever except horse and car.
So we managed to find our bungalow, and even better for us was that it was only 5 minutes away from the beach, so pretty much immediately that evening we grabbed a camera, went down to the beach and went and did some snorkeling in the sunset.
There were some beautiful corals straight off the shoreline, and we even managed to see some tropical fish as well. We must have only been snorkeling for about an hour because someone got a little bit freaked out by some of the creatures living below, but we still had a really good time.
So our time in Gili Air was really spent not doing that much in all honesty, and we spent a lot of time, chilling on the beach, relaxing, and even though it did rain a bit, we got some amazing sunsets to see, and we met some really nice people.
So from Gili Air we took another boat, a slightly different one this time, on our way to Lombok to get down to do some surfing on the south coast.
On the way from the ferry to where we were staying, we got to pass through some amazing landscapes, including Mount Rinjani National Park, amazing rice fields that Lombok is very famous for, and just rolling hills that we hadn't quite seen.
Very green island, beautiful little villages along the way, and we were really pleased to see that the Kuta in Lombok was nothing like the Kuta in Bali.
So while we were in Kuta, the main objective was to learn how to surf, and after going out on our first night there to watch a rip curl surfing competition, we had convinced ourselves that we could be that good.
So the next morning, with the help of our hostel, we booked onto a surf lesson just down the coast from Kuta.
Suffice to say, we were rubbish, and were nothing like the experts that were there the previous night. For us, it was about 90% of the time falling in the water, about 9% sitting on the board waiting for a wave, and 1% actually riding waves. So it was good. It was probably more of a swimming lesson than it was a surfing lesson, but we enjoyed it thoroughly.
And got some really interesting sunburns from it as well.
So after what had been, for us, a really enjoyable day, we spent the following day just relaxing and discovering more of the beaches and landscapes of the south of Lombok.
It wasn't long though before we rented some more boards and had another go at surfing by ourselves this time, but it didn't end up the way we planned.
So it was all going really well, and I was swimming out with the board behind me. Big wave came along and I got picked up inside it. I got hit against the board, which really hurt. But then the second I came up, I got hit by another wave and the board got snapped completely in two.
Not a great way to finish our trip in Lombok, but sadly that's the way it goes. We've loved our little holiday in Bali, Lombok and the Gili Islands, but now it's back to backpacking, so we've headed over to Java to start our trip in Surabaya.
So Surabaya is really not much of a town. It's a good place to go to other places, like many of the places we've been to. And first on our list was Mount Bromo.
We wanted to see an active volcano while we were in Indonesia, and we heard that Mount Bromo was a good one to start with.
So from Surabaya we took a train followed by a really dodgy looking kind of taxi which had been pieced together. And we had to wait for ages for a public bus. Now these public buses work that they have 15 spaces and they don't go until they're full.
Didn't look like in low season it was going to be filling up though, so after 2.5 hours of waiting in the midday sun, Luke and I decided to walk off and try and find our own mode of transport.
The second we obviously decided that we'd had enough, it became possible to leave, and paying a little more than we would have normally, we managed to get to the foot of Bromo to stay in a really nice place.
Staying at Cafe Lava Hostel, we were inside most of the day because it was pouring with rain and thundering down, but we were hopeful that it was going to clear up for our sunrise walk the next morning.
So leaving at 3 AM, we set off up the hill through a plethora of people trying to give us horses, taxis, motorbike rides all the way to the top, which we felt was a bit of, a cheat. So we walked up and got to the top and stood there waiting for sunrise with a big crowd of people.
It was well worth the hour and a half, and we saved ourselves a lot of money doing it. And the view from Bromo from the top was just amazing, especially as it just peaked above cloud base.
So as everyone stood there waiting for sunrise, we had an incredible view over the volcano, Mount Bromo and its smaller companions as they steamed up into the air. It was just amazing to actually see, and we were really glad that we made the effort to travel all that way and back pretty much in one day almost, and we would really recommend it.
So we headed back that night to Surabaya, ready for our journey the next day to Yogyakarta.
Yogyakarta is very different from everywhere we've been so far. It really is the arts and cultural centre of Java and has a lot of batik art, a lot of history, and we were keen to see all of this.
Plenty of shopping to do here as well. We're very close to the main streets where there's lots of clothes, wallets, shoes and all sorts of fabrics to buy. And once again we got a bit carried away, but nevertheless it was really good fun.
We also headed down to the Water Palace, which is the old palace for the King and Queen, which was really interesting to go to, and we enjoyed walking around it. We got a bit lost along the way, but it's all part of the fun.
Next day we headed over to Borobudur, which is the largest Buddhist temple in the world, so we were expecting great things and it certainly didn't let us down.
So the whole way around the temple there's carvings of stories, a lot of Buddhist statues, and at the top there's loads of stupas all arranged in a circle with one main big one in the middle.
We got approached by quite a few school kids while we were there to practice their English, asked lots of questions about what we thought of Indonesia, and had quite a good time chatting to all of them.
It was really funny that that's their kind of field trips, and we were more than happy to chat with them and just see where they were from, what they were doing, and it was really good fun to just meet some different people.
So our final night in Java, we decided to go to the ballet at Prambanan Temple, which is famous for the story of Rama and Sita.
It was a really interesting ballet with lots of lighting, interesting costumes and amazing music, and it was just really good to experience, and we had great seats as well, which made it all the more better.
So a really nice way to finish our trip in Indonesia. We're briefly stopping over in Kuala Lumpur on our way to India.
So we'll catch you from India and wish you all the best. See you soon guys.
Bye.
Bye.